Hello, folks. We all thought war would start with bombs, but it started with a blackout in Srinagar. This is the new face of war. The war between India and Pakistan has taken a dramatic turn. Both sides are claiming victory, but in the fog of war, the truth is still out of reach. It could take months, maybe even years, before the real damage is known. So what really happened? While the full picture remains blurred, we are trying to analyze, through international reports, shifting geopolitical dynamics, and the lessons of history, so let's dive deep. It was May. The scent of Wazwan drifted through the streets of Kashmir. Brides and grooms bustled through markets, shopping for their big day, while children played beneath strings of glowing fairy lights. It was a season of celebration, of weddings, of warmth. No one knew the warmth was an illusion. No one saw the storm brewing above the Himalayas. Because while Kashmiris danced under lights, the power grid snapped. Total blackout. No explanation. No warning. And yet the real darkness wasn't in the streets. It was in the mines, a region hoping of tourism and peace, while the drums of a new kind of war were already beating across satellites at 3:03 a.m., May 7th, 2025. It might be that somewhere in India's northern sector, a coded green light flickered. The Indian Air Force, armed with Link 16 battlefield software, AI-enabled jamming pods and Western combat protocols, launched a classified airborne operation. The number of jets is still unknown. The skies over the Himalayas swallowed them as they ascended into blackness. They didn't cross the line of control, they watched along it. Locked onto pre-assigned coordinates, their targets were deep inside Pakistani airspace. But here's the chilling detail. At that exact moment, many civilian aircraft were traveling to or from Pakistani airspace, and numerous lives unaware. Flying inches from fire, India's new generation missiles, guided by quantum targeting AI, were programmed to navigate around civilian aircraft mid-flight. They did, and that's the power of Indian Air Force. Not a single civilian aircraft was touched. That's not just precision, that's precedent, said a Western analyst. And then, 9 high-value targets across Pakistani-administered regions were eliminated. No warning, no declaration, just calibrated destruction. This wasn't a show of dominance. It was a message, a new doctrine. India, now a $4 trillion economy, a rising regional power, and a key ally of the West, had just demonstrated something chilling. It could wage war without ever being seen. India message war loud and clear. If you fiddle again, we will reset the map. And while many celebrated this as a strategic victory, it shook others to the core. But then unexpected came. Above valleys of laughter, above tables of green apple juices, dry fruits and sweet pastries, death was few meters above. Just minutes after the missiles were released on Pakistan, something went wrong. India jets. They got locked. They were watching. Or worse, they were waiting. Reportedly, 44 satellites were in action. Pakistan's economy is fractured. Inflation through the roof, fuel lines, loan talks. But its military? Battle-born. From Soviets in the 80s to modern skirmishes with Iran, from dodging CIA drones to countering Indian strikes, Pakistan's army isn't rich, but it's ready, says a European defense analyst. Even Israel doesn't provoke them lightly. And tonight they showed how. It seems just 300 kilometers away, in the frozen silence of Tibet, a Chinese satellite picked up the emission spike. An electromagnetic flash, a Rafale's radar pulse. Message forwarded. Within 2.8 seconds, Pakistan's J-10C Firebirds roared up. Link 17 activated, data shared live with ground missiles, mobile launchers, autonomous interceptors, and then they fired. This wasn't just collaboration between China and Pakistan, it was digital telepathy. One Rafale broke from formation. It wasn't running, it was falling above Sopor's orchards, and Srinagar civil localities through air laced with spices, song, and smell of Gustava. The J-10 missile followed, curving through the dark like a hunting falcon. "We serve sweets before the main dish here," joked a Kashmiri chef later, but death flew in before dessert tonight. The Rafale pilot tried. He drifted, dived, decoyed. But the J-10's missile wasn't just fast, it was smart. The missile found its mark. The Rafale spiraled, steel met steel. This wasn't just a clash of neighbors, it was Western tech versus Chinese code. Dassault gegen Chengdu, NATO algorithms versus PLA networks. That night, said a defense researcher, we crossed into the era of... And the local innocent people, they're still trying to understand why Wazwan smelled like war that night. And on April 29th, a Pakistani missile shell crashed into Dal Lake, Kashmir. No casualties, but no confusion either. It was a signal, and in this game, humanity is the collateral, so the war didn't end. It just went offline, and when it returns, it won't knock on the door, because any attack on our soil will be treated as an act of war. That was India's warning. Just hours later came the thunderous reply from Pakistan. Any act of war against us will meet with a nuclear response. So you don't need to be an expert to see where this is heading. You just need a little common sense. And when war happens next time, then there will be no next time. So be prepared to face it again. Do you want to find the aftermath of India-Pakistan nuclear war? Then click on the link in the description below. If you like this video, then hit that share button and subscribe.